Coaching is not about fixing what's wrong with you. Coaching is really about leveraging what's right with you.
You are now listening to the podcast where authors inspire listeners to become authors, the Going North Podcast. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer, best-selling author, and book enthusiast, Dom Brightman. And you're going to be listening to a different author that will inspire you to join the business of immortality, known as authorship. Now let the fun begin. Today's episode is sponsored by book number 2 from Dominic Dom Brightman, Stay the Course, The Elite Performer's 7 Secret Keys to Sustainable Success. It is the field guide to help unleash the elite performer that is inside of you. Cop it today on Amazon.com or heading over to dombrightman.com and snag it in book, ebook, and audiobook so that way you can take it on the go and get yourself on the go to your northbound success. And today on the highlight reel builder for authors known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, it's the Going North Podcast, and we got another super special, awesome human for you today. And my goodness, this guest is cooler than, we'll go cooler than 10 cucumbers. That's right, indeed. And folks are like, Dom, I thought the joke was cooler than 2 cucumbers. It's like, what makes this guest cooler than 10 cucumbers, no less? Because she is one of my favorite kind of people. That's right, indeed, because she's not only a fellow Maxwell Leadership Certified coach, she's also a fellow child of the king, and she's also a best-selling author on top of that. And to add some sprinkles, she is a multi-certified executive coach. That's right, indeed. She comes with sprinkles because she's also certified as a Gallup's strengths coach and a human behavioral expert. So let's give it up for the victorious and kind, the one and only Velma Knowles. How you doing today, Velma?
Hey, Dom, I couldn't be better now that I'm with you and everyone else that's listening in. So thank you so much.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Glad you could be in the magical podcast zone. That's right, indeed. When your media folks pitched you, I'm like, okay, here's another media pitch. All right, what they got? Like, oh, valuable leader. All right, I like the title. Oh, wait, John Maxwell. Oh, sure, yeah, she's in by default. All right, I don't even need to do the sound test or nothing. Like, she's already in. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. She's part of the tribe.
Mm.
But anyway, as with all tribes, I'm sure there's some wonderful adventures and wonderful times that make folks collectively better as a people. In your case, better as a person among the people. So my goodness, as with all introductions, not allowed to be 175 years long, and I probably only covered, 74 days. So am I filling in any cavities I may have missed about you, Velma?
Well, one of the most fascinating things, believe it or not, Dom, and I thought it was the fact that one, I like to bike ride. I thought it was like, two, I'm a huge bird watcher and photographer, but that wasn't it either. And then even 3, I thought it was, I pretend that I like to exercise, but it was none of those. What really I think folks love to hear about is I'm originally born and raised in the islands of the Bahamas. Ooh, Bahamas. So now, of course, I'm a United States citizen and I live in Sunshine State of Florida. So I still get the warm, sunny sunshine weather like the Bahamas, but I also go home to the islands as much as I can. But originally from the islands of the Bahamas.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. Because I was like, oh, sure, she's from the Bahamas. Like, oh, okay, this is freaking cool. I was about to say, wait a second, where does she live? Okay, Florida. Because I was about to say, if you
Right.
would have been like in Montana or Vermont, I'd been like, okay, what the heck is she thinking? What
Yeah,
happened?
exactly. No, I had to stay with the warm weather. And so that's close enough to still get back home and still have central air condition. So I got the best of both worlds.
Oh, yeah, that's right, indeed. Don't want you completely melting and turning into Jabba the Hutt.
Mm.
Yeah, that's right, indeed. The peaches will be mad. But yes, indeed, yes. That's right, indeed. So my goodness, my goodness. So what led you to become an author, let alone not just a one-time author, but a best-selling author of multiple books?
Yeah, well, let me tell you about that journey. First and foremost, I don't claim to be a writer. So I'm so glad, Dom, that you use the word author because I don't claim to be a writer. I've struggled between American English and British English, as you can imagine. But I decided a while back, and it was actually in 2018 that I decided that I really wanted to share with other people the lessons I learned in how to be a better leader. Because in my journey on leadership, I spent 20 years working inside associations and not-for-profit organizations between the Bahamas and the United States. And during that time, I, thought I knew what it was to be a leader. And of course, I was focused more on projects and less on people. And I had to learn through that process about what does it take to be a valuable leader, a leader that, when I say valuable leader, I'm saying a leader that people say, I want to work with that person. I want to learn from that person. I want to be like that person. And so I did a lot of research, of course, poured into developing and investing in myself, just like yourself here, with John Maxwell as one of our mentors and Zig Ziglar and several others, becoming a distinguished Toastmaster, learning how to communicate so I can connect better with folks. And that led me to wanting to share the journey with others. And so the Valuable Leader book was written in 2018. I put that book, started pulling that book all together, pulling my stories together, and then realized that other people had stories about valuable leaders in their life. And so the book is, I always kind of say it's like chicken soup for the leader, because there's my stories in it of the journey of uncovering the valuable leader. And then there's the stories of other leaders and people that have made such a tremendous impact in their life. So we talk through the book. There are 7 foundational traits, principles that it is unchanging. And there's 7 because 7 is the number of completion. And it is, that's why there's foundational 7, and that's the numbers that were given to me. But the words that make up those 7 are really attributes that are unchanging regardless of time. And when you literally write those 7 out, and I'm happy to share them, they give you an acronym called LEADERS. And so it spells out leaders. And then I teach that today so others can uncover the valuable leader in them.
Woo! That's right indeed. She takes the blanket off, y'all. She uncovers them. That's right indeed.
Well, you know what? We all go through 3 phases in life. We go through self-awareness, right? We have to become aware. That's removing blind spots. We have to be aware that there is a gap or a need. And then we go through self-acceptance, because just knowing it, but not accepting where you are, and then making that pivotal decision. Do I want to stay where I am, or do I want to change? And then there's self-development. And so what I've found is people go from I'm self-aware to self-development, and they forget that there's a missing piece in there called self-acceptance. And once you accept it, then you're making a conscious choice that I don't want to stay where I am, or I do, but I don't want to stay where I am. So I'm going to invest in developing myself. And I'm wholeheartedly believe that we have it in us. We have God-given strengths, abilities, talents. We have it in us. We just have to uncover that.
Yeah, that's right indeed. That's right indeed.
See, you got me on a
And
soapbox. Now I'm ready to teach. I'm ready to go.
don't worry, nothing wrong with soapboxes. There's a lot of musty people out there. They need it. Let me stop.
Oh my goodness. When I listen to some of your podcasts, I'm like, I am in for it. I mean, I know your audience are saying the same thing. Girl, you are in for it, so with Dom here today. That's okay. I ate a healthy breakfast.
That's right indeed. If it didn't include corn, don't worry. We got corn cobs galore everywhere you turn. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. The Field of Dreams was really a cornfield. I was
Mm, mm,
if you build it, they will corn. All right. Anyway,
they will
so
come. That is not a good joke. Okay, I'm I got to work on you offline.
Yeah, they get so much better. Insert sarcasm
Yes,
here, but
yes.
yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So, alleged to the seven discoveries of all leadership goodness, indeed, because I'm pretty sure it was probably a challenge to synthesize all of your leadership
Yeah.
wisdom attained and read all into a small, easy read book.
Well, I think it came through trial and error. So it's the thing that I struggled with the most in my leadership journey, and I believe that to be true for so many others, is that the power of really listening to people, to know how to communicate. And as it's been said, how do you communicate in a way that you connect with others? And so for me, foundationally, I had to start with, in order to be a leader, you have to be able to influence people, and in order to be able to influence them, they have to be willing to listen to you. So the first trait, the first step on the journey to becoming a valuable leader, is to really understand how to listen, and listen not with your ears, but listen with your heart. And if you actually spell the word heart, Heart, in the smack dab middle of it is ear, EAR. And so it's that we have your true ear to hear what someone is saying is when you learn to listen with your heart. And so that was like the first thing to me, is let me research, let me learn from my failures and from the lessons of leadership of other great leaders on how do you become a better leader and listen well. And so having an ear for the sound of leadership, I talk about truly understanding how to listen and communicate with others, because that's foundational. And that was the first step. And then I said, okay, so once you know that you have to, once you understand how you can connect better with others, then through the power of communication, then where do you want people to go? What's the vision? Where's the end point? Where do you want to take them? How do you want to what are you influencing them for? And so the second step in that journey of becoming the valuable leader is to really envision what the future looks like that you want to take people with. You have to see possibilities, and then say, let me share that vision of where I want to go, so people can get behind you and believe in you and follow you. And so setting a vision, having a vision for the future, and envisioning the possibilities for others as well. The third step was, okay, so now I'm listening, I'm connecting, I have a vision of where we're going. So now I have to put that vision into action. I have to take action towards that. So the third step is you have to take action. You have to follow your instincts. You have to go with your gut. You have to do the research, and you have to try things. You can't stay where you are. You have to learn through trial, and you will fail in that event, but you're not the failure. It's the event that has failed. And then you just try and you learn from that. The fourth step is, once you take those actions, you're like, okay, I've done, and as John Maxwell will say, and you would agree, we're going to reach a lid where we can't go any higher. So you have to develop yourself, and you have to develop others. So the fourth step is really focused on, how are you investing in developing yourself and developing others, so that you can elevate your growth on this journey. Then, of course, the fifth step is all about continuing to engage others, because the saying that if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go further, you go together. And that's around giving people the opportunity to not just have a seat at the table, but a voice in the room. And that's when you truly engage with others, because we as leaders don't have all the answers. But all the answers are in the room. So the fifth step is about engaging others. And how do you do that where people feel like they are seen, they are heard, and that they are valued? Because I truly believe that's our purpose for being here. And then, of course, the sixth step, Dom, is how do you reflect on where you are? Sometimes we continue to do things over and over. We keep just busyness is like the badge of honor, it appears, and it's not healthy. We need to take time to think and reflect. So asking yourself good questions about, who did you serve today? How did you add value to someone's life? What did you learn? And what are you going to do differently tomorrow? Ask yourself really challenging questions. So reflect on where you are and where you're going and how you're developing along the way. And of course, the seventh step is to serve, because the role of a leader is to serve those that are in their care, and putting people first. So having a heart for other people is really about serving them. And the greatest leader of all times, which those of us of faith will say that Jesus is the greatest leader of all, and he was the greatest servant, and he demonstrated true leadership through servants. So serving is the last step in that process. And those were the building blocks that came to me along this path. And I said, if I could do those every day, take one step every day, 7 days a week, take one of the 7 steps every day, and continue to walk my pathway, then I believe that it would help increase my value for why people would want to follow me and want to support my vision as a leader, and I would be able to develop other leaders. And so I want this to be a framework that will help other people reach their potential as well in leadership.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about indeed. Because, hey, a lot of folks got pictures out there, but they need a framework so that way they don't fly away with the wind. That's right, indeed. Just need something to hold them
Mm-hmm.
down. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. And that's what you're giving them with this book and more. And that's probably one of my one of my favorite lines from your book is like, hey, not just giving folks a seat at the table, but a voice in the room, because that's like the next level. Because it's like, oh, you can have a seat at the table all
Mm-hmm.
day, possibly, but if they give you like a little kiddie seat instead of a regular rolling chair, so they can't see your head, then what's the point?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we know that there is so much value in having everyone contribute, because different is different. Different is not wrong. So, when I always teach this, I always say that I come from an island of the Bahamas, and in the Bahamas, we drive on the left-hand side of the road. And here in the United States, we drive on the right. And it's not that one is wrong, it's that they're different. And so it's the same thing, when it comes to having someone have a seat at the table, but giving them the voice in the room, showing them that you do value them and you value them as a person. You see them, you hear them, and you value them. You appreciate that they have ideas and that they can contribute to whatever the solutions are that you need to move the organization forward. So I love that you brought that point up about it's not just about having a seat at the table; it's about having a voice in the room.
Yeah, exactly. Because folks be like, yep, I'm at the table. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't saying a dang thing at all because y'all don't like those stuff. You know,
Right, and you're not listening to me. Exactly.
right indeed. That's right indeed. And hey, funny enough, it's like probably one of my favorite stories from the book is how you were able to get the confidence to secure funding for your good old college education, even in spite of the naysayers, even though, if I'm not mistaken, it was your own family
Right.
too, right?
Yeah, yeah. And when you, and I'm sure that others have experienced this, that when you change, when you want to change, you want something different in life. It's not that people don't want that for you. If they love you, Dom, they want the best for you. But what they don't want is they don't want to change. And when you and your life changes, it's going to impact them. And that's why you have sometimes people are not necessarily an advocate or a supporter for some of the things you want to do in life. And so with me, I grew up in the islands of the Bahamas. My family did not have the means to send me or anyone in our family to college for higher education, and it was it was never something you really even thought about. And I was very blessed when I first got out of high school to work for a nonprofit organization in conservation and environmental protection for the Bahamas to take care of our beautiful natural resources. And I loved what I did. I did everything from membership growth to public relations and all sorts of just fun stuff. And I think that's where my love for birds and nature came from. But when I was there, I also had the opportunity to work with a leader that was brought in to help the nonprofit secure funding to have sustainable operating revenue moving forward. And I learned by working with this individual how you put together a professional fundraising campaign. And so we did that, and our goal was $3 million in 3 years. And so I learned quite a bit of the science behind how do you get people to give money in support of a cause. And so we did that. We achieved our goal. And 2 years later, the dream was born inside of me that I should take the concepts that I learned from this nonprofit about how they raised money for conservation and birds and the protection of marine life, and that I could develop a professional educational fund for me. And so I took those same principles and I sat down with a piece of paper and I wrote out what that would look like. And I applied to colleges and I went through the process. And at first, I remember one day I went to my mom and I said, Mom, people gave money to help protect birds and help protect the environment and for conservation. And so I think they would give me money to go to college. And my mom said, baby, people don't give you money to go to college. You don't ask people for money, And I was like, why not? They got it. I need it. And she's like, yes, but you don't do that. I'm like, but I want to go to college. I had that burning desire that Napoleon Hill talks about. And I just said, I'm going to go. I'm going to do it. So I applied those principles I learned from others, and I went and I approached and did my research and practiced and had all of my budget and my approval for college. And I went and I approached sponsors and I raised over $100,000, purely philanthropic. I did that in 8 months. And when someone gives money in the Bahamas, it's very different than in the United States because there is no tax advantage. And I was not a formalized nonprofit. It was me. It was an individual. People were just sponsoring me versus they were getting some tax advantage. They were truly helping me from the bottom of their heart because they saw potential in me and they were valuable leaders in my life, even though I didn't know it at the time, because they wanted me to develop and reach my full potential. And they were helping me to pave that way. So I raised the money that they gave me. I came over and I did 4 years of undergrad and I had about a year left of funds. I didn't want to give it back. And so I went back and asked them to fill the gap for a second year of graduate. And I did my graduate work and got an MBA as well. So it's just amazing when I look back now. Sometimes I pinch myself and say, you did what? And every time I tell that story at workshops and presentations, I have folks come up and they say, I need you to talk to my son. I need you to talk to my daughter because student debt is it's just crazy with this college debt. So it's just I look back and I just know that it's God, and it was not me that planted that seed, and I give all the credit to my Heavenly Father.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's what I'm talking about indeed. Yeah. It was like in the middle of that story, I forgot it was the middle of a sermon. Pastor was saying something, I forgot what it was, but he was joking around saying, it's like, yeah, a person comes up to you, it's like, hey, you have it, I don't. We're a match. Give me what you
Right.
have.
Oh, I love that one. I have it. You have it. I don't. We're a match. That is perfect. Yeah. That is perfect.
Yep, but the good news is you're helping folks out now because you do philanthropic work yourself now to give back to the good old community and beyond.
Yes, yes. I'm a true believer in supporting the organizations that have, a purpose that is bigger than their profit, first and foremost, that put their people over their projects.
There you go. That's right indeed. Purpose over profit. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So no sackcloth and potato sacks, y'all. No profits. That's right. Let me stop.
Well, when you invest in your people, they will invest in your company. I know that because those are the ones that make it happen.
That's right indeed, because it's so darn true. Because hey, without them, there'd be no organization. It'd be like, oh man,
Mm,
I guess
you
we're
said
so
it.
well.
You said it.
That's right indeed. So my goodness. So since you've been on a few interviews promoting the good work that you're doing, is there a question that you wish folks would ask you more often?
That's a great question. I think what I would love for people to ask me more of is, you know, what's the value in having a coach? Because I think sometimes what I've experienced is that people want to get better. We all want the best for ourselves, but when it comes down to the the value of having a coach, someone that comes alongside and guides you and is able to hold you accountable to achieve the things that you want, it kind of gets a negative a negative description. People think, oh, if I'm going to get a coach, then something's not right with me, or they have a just I think a myth around what is really a leadership coach. And I always try to help people understand that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so, as a coach, you want to help someone to achieve what their goals are. And if you have goals and you're stuck, you don't have to be. You search out, and if it's not a coach, then search out a mentor, someone that has done things that you want, that can come alongside and can give you some insight. But don't try to do life alone. And I'm talking from experience because I tried to do that alone for a while, and it was just a lot of frustration and a lot of failure. And other people have already learned and grown, and you can learn and grow from them. So I wish more people would ask me, so what's the advantage of getting a leadership coach? And I would tell them that you're going to achieve the things that you are made to do here, and you'll find your purpose and you'll achieve them and reach your potential a lot sooner with a less frustration if you had the guidance of a good coach or a mentor.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. 'Cause yeah, because there's a lot of folks out there who are coaches too, and folks on the other side, potential coaching clients are folks who possibly need the coaching or really need it. Have no idea what it was. Because if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was your first ever coaching experience. You didn't really get what was going on because the guy
Exactly.
or whoever was
You
asking
have
you just
read the book.
questions.
Listen, you. Exactly. But you know why? When I first had a coach, I didn't understand what the role of the coach was. I thought they were going to tell me all the solutions and how I was going to fix everything. And so that's why I really think that there's a misunderstanding in this world around what is truly the value of having a coach, and how do what to expect. Because if you do have that kind of mind and know that having that kind of expertise in your life is more of an accountability role, more of someone to give you the questions that you already have the answers for. Again, it's all about uncovering what's already there. That's what I think a coach really does for you. They help you remove those blind spots.
Heck yeah, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. It's like you go from a regular human to an octopus with tentacles, metaphorically. That's right indeed.
You
It's a
got
lot
some,
of
you got some
work.
lines. Dom, you got some lines here. I'm sure your listeners are like, where's Dom going with that one? But I love it. You keep it entertaining.
Yeah, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. At the end of the day, it all points to north. That's right. That's right indeed. Even if you feel like you're going south, it's still north. That's right indeed. You're gonna end up north somehow. That's right indeed. You may be like, oh man, I feel like I'm in South Carolina. Nope, you're actually in Maryland still, buddy. That's right indeed.
Mm.
That's right indeed. We made sure you missed that left turn at Albuquerque for a reason. That's right indeed.
That's why you're going north. That's why you have this podcast today, going north, keeping people finding the direction, staying headed in their on the compass in the right lane of their pathway.
Heck yeah, indeed. So my goodness. So since you're a fellow coach, you always gotta ask my favorite obligatory question for coaches, and that is, what would you consider your biggest lesson learned from one of your coaching clients, or even multiple, that actually made you a better coach?
What a great question. I think the biggest lesson, and Dom, you mentioned earlier that I'm a Gallup Strengths certified coach. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned from that journey and those that I've coached is that, coaching is not about fixing what's wrong with you. Coaching is really about leveraging what's right with you. And I've learned that when I've had clients say to me, well, I can't do that, or, I don't have that strength, or I haven't been able to achieve that. And they tend to focus, and I think we've all been guilty of this, but focusing on what they don't have versus what they do have. And that's what Gallup Strengths Coach Finding has helped me to be a better coach. And that's what my coaching clients have helped me to see, that there's a gap there that they need, and that is to focus on what you do well, and not trying to fix what you don't do well.
Ooh, that's a powerful one liner right there, indeed. That's right, indeed. Got to leverage what's right with you. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Because you all do something right. You just got to leverage it,
Exactly.
maximize it. Yeah, that's right, indeed. Maybe metaphorically put steroids into it. Be like, yeah, that's right. Make it extra buff. That's right, indeed. Make sure it stands out so well that the folks won't even notice the weaknesses. They'll be like, oh, God, what happened?
Well,
Like, oh,
you're so right. Focus on what you do well. Why? Because you're going to be happier. You're going to be more productive, right? People are going to come to you and know you for what you are good at, right? And you're going to build confidence. I mean, there are so many benefits of just focusing on what you do well and then getting better at that, versus oh, my the glass is half empty, I can't do this, I can't. And so that's been the biggest lesson for me as a coach, is really helping people turn their eyes on what you do well, and how do we help you to do that better so that you can achieve what your goals are.
yeah, that's right, indeed. It'll be like you won the Stanley Cup. You reached all your goals.
Or it could be gold, GOLD, instead of GOAL, right? Really digging for gold.
I knew you had bars.
That's right. See, I can come alongside.
That's right, indeed. So, my goodness, so such your fellow child of the King, always invite fellow Christians to share the salvation testimonies. How'd you come to know Christ, Velma?
Oh, wow. Well, there's a saying that you think that you find him, but I know he found me. And it was in my teens. And so I used to play the guitar in my church. And during that time, I literally was playing with youth. So I had youth, the youth, we were doing educational programs for them. And I remember clearly just seeing just the characteristics of Christ in those young people. And I thought, I'm missing this. What is this that I'm missing? And I had that tug on my heart. And I remember praying, and then being just just directed and called to accept the Lord Jesus, and I did that, and I've never turned back.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about indeed. So do you still play guitar to this day?
I still have one. I don't play it as much as I want to, but I've been playing since I was 8 years old. And I'm not telling you how old I am. Let's just say a long time, Dom.
All right, 21 years ago. I get you. I get you. You're drinking. I
Exactly.
get
Exactly. Right. I'm
it.
still 29.
Didn't even know you played guitar.
Yeah, see?
That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's right indeed. If you have the good old El Kabong with you, you might find Jesus. That's right indeed. But hey, he'll find you
Mm,
in many ways. You won't even see it. That's right indeed.
mm,
That's right indeed.
it's true.
Paul sure as heck didn't see it. He was blinded.
Right. I know he did not see it.
So my goodness, so your fabulous book, The Valuable Later, 7 Steps to Greater Growth of Value and Influence. If that book were a food, what would it be and why?
Oh, wow. What a great question. If this book was a food, what would it be and why, huh? I had not thought of that before, Dom. But I've got to say that, boy, it would definitely be a fruit. And so I'm leaning to this, the valuable leader being a fruit, because in the middle of whatever fruit that is, there is a seed. And you can take that and you can plant it, and more fruit will grow from that. So whatever you take from this book and you plant it in your life, it's going to grow and it's going to help you to grow and be better.
Sweet. That's right indeed. You'll be better and not better, y'all. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Yes, indeed. That's right indeed. It's gonna be the whole fruit tree, y'all. That's right indeed. That's right. That's right indeed. The good fruit. Not that Eden fruit. No, you don't want that. That's true.
Right. It would be your favorite fruit. So whatever your favorite fruit is, that's what this book would be. But it would be a fruit with a seed. And I love that. I like that. That's a great metaphor to think about there for a minute.
Yeah, that's right indeed. It could be a papaya. That's right
Mm,
indeed.
papaya.
Yeah.
Very good. That's one of my favorite fruits.
Good. That's right indeed. For some divorcees, mango is their favorite fruit. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Some say let the man go. It's like no, they stay on the tree.
Mhm.
Well, anyways, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive. And that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but you're still in the current year, what
Mm.
advice would you give to yourself?
Wow, what are you trying to say? I'm not 25? I'm just teasing. I'm
You're just
teasing.
4 years older than 25. That's all.
Exactly, exactly. We're the same age here, Dom. If I was 25 now, what advice would I give to myself? Wow. I think that I would tell myself that you have so much potential and that people are the most important thing to focus on, building strong relationships. So use your potential to help other people become better. And at the same time, invest in yourself and be better, because there's so much more that you have for others.
Woohoo! That's right indeed. Use that potential, y'all. That's right indeed. Use to help others.
Potential,
Yes,
potential.
indeed.
Yeah, yeah. Believe in yourself. You got potential. And part of that potential is what you're going to do to help other people grow. I've always been a student of personal development, but more so in the latter part of my career, and understanding emotional intelligence to the point where like you've mentioned when we kicked this thing off, I've I've invested to the point of getting certified, because I want to be better and I want to help pass that along for others as well.
Woohoo! That's right indeed. That good old investment. That's right indeed. She's a decorated coach for a reason, dang gummit. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. The more decoration, the more wonderful power you're gonna have. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Because you can't spell potential without potent. That's right indeed.
Mm.
Because you got that good old potent swag in you. That's right. Velma's gonna be the person to help you do it. So for those who want to keep up with your journey, snag some copies of your books and all that wonderful smooth jazz. What's the best way for folks to do so, Velma?
The best way, Dom, is to go to my website. You can always ask Google where to find anyone, but I'm on the web and it's my first name, Velma, Knowles, KNOWLES.com. So it's velmaknowles.com. And you can find the website. There's a bunch of free resources. I'd love to gift anyone there some resources. They can go to the page and get they can uncover communication blind spots or leadership blind spots, things that I've researched and learned from others. I'm giving that away for free. So if it could help and serve them in any way, velmaknowles.com is the best way. And I'd love to connect and serve others as I can.
Oh, that's right indeed. If you want a lady in the know, call on Velma. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. She's got you covered like a blanket. Maybe 7 when it's winter time. Indeed, that's right. Indeed, she's got you covered like a blanket. Out of curiosity, stupid question: are you any relation to Beyonce?
Yeah, I get that all the time. Will it help me in any way? Because I always say if I can claim her as my cousin, I would, because if it could help me in any way. But no, I am not. Unfortunately, I guess. No relationship to Beyonce.
I get you, but it's all well and good. Instead of bootylicious, she's leaderlicious. That's right, indeed. Valuably leaderlicious.
Yeah, you making them up as you go. You are just everything and a bag of chips. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, some say I'm chipper.
There you go. Chipper. Mhm.
That's right indeed. That's right indeed. And the good news is we're in the bag together. That's right indeed. It's a big bag, no air. That's right indeed. That means we got great content.
Right, right. Oh, gotcha.
Oh man. Before
Oh,
the potato chip companies get mad and be like, "Hey, stop giving them extra chips," and we go
right.
down the rabbit hole. What's any party words before we close up shop?
I think the only thing I would share with folks is that leadership, as Maxwell says, is influence. And I think that, the challenge with being a leader is to first know yourself, grow yourself, and then grow others. And, I believe in serving with your heart and influencing with a purpose. So serve with heart, always consider someone's heart and then influence with a purpose to do what is right for everyone. I think that's what I would leave folks to think and ponder on.
If you're hearing this part of the episode, that means you're one cool individual. Thanks a bunch for tuning in, and if you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to share it with at least one other person in your network. Bonus points for 3. And be sure to check out the backlog too while you're at it, because there are hundreds of wonderful episodes to choose from as well.